Very few students have joined. Only 12 students are there.
Yes, ma'am.
Please mute yourself. From somewhere noise is there. Please mute yourself. All right, let them join. Anyway, it's 10:30. Let me not waste time. Let's start with the metabolism of lipids. In today's class, we are going to discuss about beta oxidation of fatty acids. What is this beta oxidation? It may be defined as the oxidation of fatty acids on the beta carbon atom. The first carbon atom which is attached to the carboxyl group is alpha. The next one will be beta. So this may be defined as the oxidation of fatty acid on the beta carbon atom. What happens with this beta oxidation? There is a sequential removal of two carbon atom fragment acetyl-CoA. After one complete cycle of beta oxidation, there will be removal of one fragment of acetyl-CoA from the fatty acid that is undergoing beta oxidation. There are three stages in this beta oxidation. First stage is activation of fatty acid that occurs in cytosol. Then once this fatty acid is activated, that gets transported into mitochondria. Then beta oxidation proper. There are four reactions involved in this beta oxidation proper. So these are the three stages that occur in the beta oxidation of fatty acids. First, in the cytosol, the fatty acids need to be activated. Then the activated fatty acids, they get transported to mitochondria. In mitochondria, beta oxidation proper reactions will take place. This beta oxidation proper includes four reactions as I mentioned earlier. And then this beta oxidation, this happens in most of the tissues in the body, but brain, erythrocytes, adrenal medulla, they cannot utilize these fatty acids for energy requirement. So the first stage of beta oxidation is activation of fatty acids to acyl-CoA, and this occurs in cytosol. So this is the general structure of your fatty acid. R is the side chain. So COO group is there, COO minus group, that means the carboxyl group is there. This combines with the ATP or utilizes the ATP, and it is converted into acyl adenylate. This AMP gets attached to this carboxyl group. This acyl adenylate is formed. This reaction requires the utilization of ATP, and the enzyme that catalyzes this fatty acid to acyl adenylate conversion is thiokinase. And when one ATP molecule is utilized here, it is converted into pyrophosphate. This pyrophosphate immediately hydrolyzed to two molecules of inorganic phosphate. Since two molecules of inorganic phosphate is formed here, it is considered to be two ATP molecules are utilized in this step. So here what happened? The fatty acid is converted into acyl adenylate, to which AMP moiety is attached. And then this acyl adenylate, this combines with coenzyme A, and this AMP is released, and this acyl adenylate is converted into acyl-CoA. So what happened here? First, fatty acid is converted into acyl adenylate, which requires utilization of ATP molecule, that is converted into inorganic pyrophosphate, will be hydrolyzed to two high energy phosphates, which means that there is utilization of two molecules of ATP. And in this reaction, the enzyme that plays role is thiokinase. Then this acyl adenylate, it combines with coenzyme A, AMP is released, and it is converted into acyl-CoA. So this is what happens in activation of fatty acid. So they are activated to acyl-CoA by thiokinase or acyl-CoA synthetase. This thiokinase is also referred to as acyl-CoA synthetase. It occurs in 2 steps and it requires ATP, coenzyme A, and magnesium are also required for this activation. The fatty acid reacts with ATP to form acyladenylate, which then combines with coenzyme A to produce acyl-CoA. 2 high energy phosphates are utilized since ATP is converted to pyrophosphate. Then pyrophosphatase enzyme that hydrolyzes this pyrophosphate to phosphatase. Since this pyrophosphate is immediately eliminated, this makes this reaction irreversible. This is a irreversible reaction. The activation of fatty acid to acyl-CoA, that is irreversible reaction. Coming to the second stage of beta oxidation. Second stage is transport of this activated fatty acid, the acyl-CoA, into mitochondria. As it is, the inner mitochondrial membrane is impermeable to this fatty acid. So there is a specialized carnitine carrier system. This is also called as carnitine shuttle. Since this acyl-CoA is impermeable through inner mitochondrial membrane, this is transported via carnitine special, which is a carnitine carrier system. So this is the one that operates to transport the activated fatty acids, that means the acyl-CoA, from cytosol to the mitochondria, because the oxidation proper will take place in mitochondria. So this activated fatty acid needs to be transported from cytosol to mitochondria. So look at this mechanism, how the activated fatty acid, that means the acyl-CoA, gets transported to mitochondria. This partition, whatever is shown here, this is inner mitochondrial membrane. I think somebody is unmuted. There is some disturbance. All of you make sure that you are muted. I think Nitya is unmuted. Nitya, please mute yourself. I think she's not even there.
Ma'am, it's unmute only.
Okay. Fine. So look at this mechanism, how the activated fatty acid that gets transported into mitochondria. These lines indicate the inner mitochondrial membrane. This is outer surface, this is inner surface. So outside what we have is cytosol, and we have activated fatty acid in the form of acyl-CoA. This acyl-CoA, the acyl group is transferred on to carnitine with the enzyme carnitine acyl transferase 1. Carnitine acyl transferase 1 transfers the acyl group from acyl-CoA to onto the carnitine. So you will have the formation of acyl carnitine. Of course, coenzyme is released out. The enzyme that catalyzes this reaction is carnitine acyl transferase 1. This acyl carnitine will be transported across the membrane with the help of carrier protein so that it gets inside the mitochondrial matrix. This acyl carnitine is permeable through the membrane and it is transported with the help of carrier protein inside the mitochondrial matrix. So acyl carnitine is now inside the mitochondrial matrix. And then now in mitochondrial matrix, this acyl carnitine is converted into acyl-CoA by combining with coenzyme A. And the enzyme that catalyzes this reaction is carnitine acyl transferase 2. This carnitine acyl transferase 2 is present in mitochondrial matrix, which is involved in the conversion of acyl carnitine to acyl-CoA, and carnitine is released. The released carnitine again gets into cytosol and it will be reused in the beta oxidation. I hope you understood here. Acyl carnitine again combines with coenzyme A and converted into acyl CoA, and then carnitine is released. The released carnitine will get into the cytosol again for reuse. That's how the acyl CoA is transferred or transported from cytosol to mitochondrial matrix. And also, all of you have to make note the coenzyme A, which is utilized here in mitochondrial matrix, is different from the coenzyme that combines with the, the coenzyme which is released here in cytosol. I mean to say here, coenzyme A is involved in activating the fatty acid that occurs in the cytosol. That coenzyme A is different from the coenzyme A which is involved in this formation of acyl CoA, which means that there are two different pools of coenzyme A, one in cytosol, one in mitochondria. I hope you are clear with the transport of acyl CoA, which means the activated fatty acid from the cytosol to mitochondria. Any questions? Any questions? I'm not hearing anything. Let me assume that there are no questions. If you have questions also, please make note of it. Let me ask at the end of the class. So we have completed two stages in beta oxidation. One is activation of fatty acid to acyl CoA. Then the second stage is transport of activated fatty acid from cytosol to mitochondrial matrix. Next, beta oxidation proper. In beta oxidation proper, okay, so here whatever is explained only is written here, how this takes place. I think I can skip this slide. Now, third stage is beta oxidation proper. Each cycle of beta oxidation, there is a liberation of 2 carbon unit acetyl CoA, and each cycle of this beta oxidation, it occurs in sequence of 4 reactions, that is oxidation, hydration, again oxidation, and then the fourth reaction, last reaction of beta oxidation cycle is cleavage. So these are the 4 reactions that occur in a sequence in the third stage of beta oxidation, that is beta oxidation proper. So here all the reactions that are involved in beta oxidation of fatty acids are shown. Here this reaction is the activation. Fatty acid is activated into acyl CoA by utilizing ATP, where inorganic pyrophosphate is formed, and it utilizes ATP as I mentioned, and it also combines with coenzyme A to form acyl CoA. The reaction involved here is thiokinase. Once this acyl CoA is formed, it is transported from cytosol to mitochondria by carnitine transport system. This is what till now we have discussed. Now here the beta oxidation proper reactions, that means the 4 reactions will start. The first reaction is dehydrogenation. The dehydrogenation is catalyzed by the enzyme acyl CoA dehydrogenase, and this is FAD dependent enzyme. That means it requires the coenzyme FAD. So here the acyl CoA, when it undergoes oxidation by the enzyme acyl CoA dehydrogenase, what happens? There is double bond introduced between alpha and beta carbons. This is the carboxyl group. That means this is alpha carbon, beta carbon. There is introduction of double bond between this alpha and beta carbon. With this introduction of double bond, this acyl CoA is converted into enoyl CoA, trans-enoyl CoA. And as I told you, since it is FAD dependent enzyme, there is formation of one FADH2 molecule. You all know when the FADH2 molecule, when it enters into electron transport chain, it forms or it gives rise to 2 ATP molecules. So at this step of beta oxidation, you have the formation of 2 ATP molecules. And here it is also mentioned as SIDS. That means the blockade of this reaction or by the inhibition of this acyl CoA dehydrogenase enzyme, there is a disease associated called sudden infant death syndrome. This SIDS is sudden infant death syndrome. At the end, I will discuss when I discuss about the associated disorders of beta oxidation. You just remember that here the inhibition of this reaction or the inhibition of this enzyme leads to a disease called SIDS, that is sudden infant death syndrome. So here there is one FADH2 molecule formed. The second reaction in beta oxidation proper is hydration. Obviously, the hydration reaction requires water molecule. So here what happens, this hydration brings about the incorporation of hydroxyl group at the beta carbon. This double bond is removed because of hydration, and there is incorporation of OH group at the beta carbon. So that will lead to the formation of beta hydroxy. When this is alpha, this is beta. Beta hydroxy acyl CoA. You have the formation of beta hydroxy acyl CoA. The enzyme involved in this reaction is enoyl CoA hydratase. Enoyl CoA hydratase is the one that brings about hydration. So there is removal of double bond and there is formation of beta hydroxy acyl CoA. Now, this beta hydroxy acyl CoA again undergoes oxidation with the help of enzyme beta hydroxy acyl CoA dehydrogenase. And this beta hydroxy acyl CoA dehydrogenase enzyme is NAD dependent enzyme. It requires the coenzyme NAD, and there is formation of one NADH plus H plus molecule. And when there is NADH H plus molecule formed, when it enters into electron transport chain, you have the formation of 3 ATP molecules. The enzyme here is dehydrogenase and you have the formation. So here what happens because of this oxidation, this hydroxyl group is converted into keto group. So you have the formation of beta keto acyl CoA. Beta keto acyl CoA is formed here. Then the last reaction in beta oxidation proper is cleavage. This cleavage is carried out by the enzyme called thiolase. This thiolase cleaves the molecule at this bond and there is formation of acetyl CoA. When there is cleavage at this bond, what will happen? CH3 C double bond O S CoA, which is acetyl CoA is formed. That is what I mentioned in the beginning of the beta oxidation. As a result of one cycle of beta oxidation, you will have the formation or the release of 2 carbon atom unit acetyl CoA. And then after the cleavage of these 2 carbon atom acetyl CoA, you have again acyl CoA formed. This acyl CoA is 2 carbon atoms less than the original acyl CoA that entered in beta oxidation. Obviously, when acetyl CoA is released out of this acyl CoA, you have again the shorter acyl CoA with 2 carbon atoms less than the original acyl CoA. The acyl CoA formed here, again it re-enters or enters into the cycle of beta oxidation. This beta oxidation cycle continues until the complete oxidation of fatty acid. After it undergoes every cycle, there is release of acetyl CoA, which is 2 carbon atom unit. The acetyl CoA formed here that enters into citric acid or TCA cycle, where it gets completely oxidized to carbon dioxide and water. You also need to know about the energetics of this TCA cycle in order to understand the energetics of this beta oxidation. So what are the 4 reactions that are involved in this beta oxidation proper? First is oxidation, then hydration, then again oxidation, then the last reaction is cleavage. So the acyl CoA formed here with 2 carbon atoms less, that again re-enters into the cycle until the complete oxidation of fatty acid. The same thing, whatever is explained, oxidation. Yeah, this is FAD dependent flavoenzyme. So the enzyme involved, the enzyme name is acyl CoA dehydrogenase. Double bond is formed between alpha and beta carbons. Then hydration that leads to the formation of beta hydroxy acyl CoA. Then again oxidation, which is NAD dependent. The product formed is beta keto acyl CoA, then cleavage that will lead to the formation of acetyl CoA and acyl CoA. The thylatic cleavage is catalyzed by thiolase, or it can also be referred to as beta ketoacyl CoA thiolase. So the new acyl CoA containing 2 carbons less than the original re-enters the beta oxidation cycle. This process continues till the fatty acid is completely oxidized to carbon dioxide and water. So the general reactions are shown. If we take example of palmitic acid, and if you look at the overall reaction, how the oxidation of palmitoyl CoA takes place, the palmitoyl CoA, palmitic acid is the fatty acid that has 8 carbon atoms. So when there are 8 carbon atoms, it undergoes 7 cycles of beta oxidation to get completely oxidized. So the overall reaction for palmitic acid oxidation will be palmitoyl CoA, 1 molecule of palmitoyl CoA plus, since it undergoes 7 cycles of beta oxidation, 7 coenzyme A required, plus 7 FAD molecules, 7 NAD molecules, 7 water molecules, because in the step of hydration, water molecule is required. So with all these reactants, there is formation of 8 acetyl CoA. I'm sorry, palmitic acid is the fatty acid that contains 16 carbon atoms. So when there are 16 carbon atoms, it undergoes 7 cycles of beta oxidation. With that 8 acetyl CoA, you all know acetyl CoA is 2 carbon atom unit. So 8 acetyl CoA molecules are produced after 7 cycles of beta oxidation, plus 7 FADH2 plus 7 NADH plus H plus. So as I told you, undergoes 7 cycles of beta oxidation to yield 8 acetyl CoA. And this acetyl CoA, whatever is formed here, that can enter into citric acid cycle and get completely oxidized to carbon dioxide and water. You all know what are the end products of TCA cycle. When the acetyl CoA is completely oxidized by TCA cycle, it is oxidized to carbon dioxide and water. Now, coming to the energetics of beta oxidation, if you take the example of palmitic acid, what will be the total energy formed after this beta oxidation of fatty acid? So beta oxidation, this involves 7 cycles. When the fatty acid is palmitic acid, when it undergoes 7 cycles, 7 FADH2 are formed. This FADH2 oxidized by electron transport chain that gives rise to 2 ATP. So for 7 FADH2, each one 2 ATP, 14 ATP are formed out of FADH2. And 7 NADH2 molecules are formed. This is oxidized by electron transport chain, and each liberates 3 ATP. So 21 molecules are formed. And there are 8 acetyl CoA molecules formed as a result of beta oxidation of 1 molecule of palmitic acid. So when these 8 acetyl CoA, when they are oxidized by citric acid cycle, each acetyl CoA, you know, each acetyl CoA, it forms 12 ATP after it gets oxidized by TCA cycle. So when 8 such acetyl CoA are oxidized by TCA cycle, 12 into 8, 96 ATP are formed. So the total energy from 1 molecule of palmitoyl CoA is 96 plus 21 plus 14, 131. But if you remember, in the beginning, during the activation of fatty acid, 2 ATP molecules are utilized. So if you subtract those 2 ATP molecules, the total number of ATP molecules that are formed by the complete oxidation of 1 molecule of palmitic acid is 129. So this is how you need to write in your exams also. Suppose if the beta oxidation is asked, you have to explain all the 3 stages, that is activation of fatty acid, then transport of fatty acyl CoA from cytosol to the mitochondria by a carnitine transport system, then beta oxidation proper, where you have these 4 reactions. After these 4 reactions, you have to take example of palmitic acid and explain the energetics like this, and finally show that there will be yield of 129 ATP molecules by the complete oxidation of 1 molecule of palmitic acid by beta oxidation. And you all know that this palmitic acid is the 16 carbon atom fatty acid and it is saturated fatty acid. Now, let's see what are the diseases that are associated with this beta oxidation of fatty acids. I mentioned that there is one disease which is associated with acyl-CoA dehydrogenase, that is SIDS. SIDS is sudden infant death syndrome. This disorder happens due to blockade in beta oxidation, and that leads to the unexpected death of healthy infants, usually overnight. And this happens because of the deficiency of this acyl-CoA dehydrogenase, specifically medium chain acyl-CoA dehydrogenase. As we all know, glucose is the main source of energy soon after eating, or in case of babies, soon after feeding, the glucose is the main source of energy. But after few hours, when the glucose levels are decreased, okay, there should be increased oxidation of fatty acid in order to meet the energy requirements. If there is deficiency of this enzyme, that is acyl-CoA dehydrogenase, that will lead to the blockade of beta oxidation. When there is blockade of beta oxidation during the phase of decreased glucose levels, there will not be sufficient energy to meet the requirements. That will lead to the sudden death in infants. So that's how this blockade of beta oxidation caused by deficiency in medium chain acyl-CoA dehydrogenase, that will leads to the sudden infant death syndrome because of the decreased energy levels, as the glucose levels are decreased and there is no beta oxidation of fatty acids to release energy to meet the requirements. So this is one disease that is associated with beta oxidation of fatty acids. Another such related disease is Jamaican vomiting sickness. This Jamaican vomiting sickness, it is characterized by symptoms like hypoglycemia, vomiting, convulsions, coma, and death. It is caused mainly because of eating an unripe ackee fruit. This ackee fruit, it contains toxic amino acid called hypoglycin. Hypoglycin A. This hypoglycin A, it inhibits the enzyme again, acyl-CoA dehydrogenase, and that this will lead to the beta oxidation blockade, that will lead to various complications that are associated with the mentioned symptoms like vomiting, convulsions, coma, and ultimately that can also lead to death. So basically, this is caused by eating this ackee fruit, which is unripe, that contains toxic amino acid, hypoglycin A, and this inhibits the enzyme acyl-CoA dehydrogenase, and that will block beta oxidation, which will lead to the complications of the symptoms that are associated with this Jamaican vomiting sickness. So in this class, beta oxidation of fatty acid is the one I wanted to discuss. The complete thing you can refer Satyanarayana. I hope this is clear to you. If you have any questions, you can ask me, and you have to write down the reactions. I'm showing it to you. You just watch the movie, keep quiet will not do. Definitely, you have to write these reactions along with structures. And as I told you, if you understand and write the structures, it will become very easy for you. No need to mug up anything here. So if you have any questions, you can ask me now. So no response means no questions. If no questions, then we will discuss the remaining types of oxidation in the next class.